Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Rick Reads Comics. We're going to hop into the Amazing Spider-Man. This is the original Amazing Spider-Man series. This is the collection, it's volume one of the Mighty Marvel Masterworks. It's going to collect Amazing Fantasy number 15, which is the first appearance, and then the Amazing Spider-Man numbers 1 through 10. So eventually we're going to make it through all these, but for today, we're just going to do the first issue. So it is Amazing Fantasy number 15, all the way from August 1962. And it's the first appearance of Spider Man. Of course, the writer for these are Stan Lee, and the penciler is Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby. But let's jump in. Okay, Amazing Fantasy number 15, introducing Spider Man by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. And like we said earlier, all the way from, 1962. So August 1962. Though the world may mock Peter Parker, the timid teenager, it will soon marvel at the awesome might of Spider-Man. All right, so let's jump in. And then I'm assuming it's the origin story. I think I've read this before, but it's been a long time. So Spider-Man, like costume heroes, confidentially, we in the comic mag business refer to them as long underwear characters. And as you know, they're a dime a dozen. But we think you may find our Spider-Man just a bit different. And obviously, it is a bit different because it's lasted years and years. All right. Say, gang, we need one more guy for the dance. How about Peter Parker over there? Are you kidding? That bookworm wouldn't know a cha cha from a waltz. Peter Parker, he's Midtown High's only professional wallflower. And there's Peter, little nerdy, all sad. And then I like that little silhouette in the background of the spider that's about to get him, Spider Man. So one thing about these old comics, they are heavy with story and dialogue. So it just takes a long time to read. So it may be a short video, it may not. We'll find out. In the first panel up here. As you may have gathered, Peter Parker was far from being the biggest man on campus, but his Uncle Ben thought he was a pretty special lad. You're not fooling me, Petey. I know you're awake, and it's time for school. Gosh, Uncle Ben, you're worse than a room full of alarm clocks. As for Pete's Aunt May, she thought the sun rose and set upon her nephew. I cooked your favorite breakfast, Petey. Wheat cakes. Don't fatten him up too much, dear. I can hardly out wrestle him now. The faculty at Midtown High were also fond of the clean-cut, hard-working honor student. Keep up the good work, Parker, and you're sure to rate a scholarship when you graduate. I'll do my best, sir. But alas, other teenagers can sometimes unwittingly be so very cruel to a shy young man. Sally, I was wondering if you're busy tonight. Peter, for the upteenth time, you're just not my type. Not when dreamboats like Flash Thompson are around. There's Flash. I admire your good taste, doll. Get lost, bookworm. All right. Look, there's a great new exhibit at the Science Hall tonight. Would any of you like to go with me? Science Hall? Ha! You stick to science, son. We'll take care of the chicks. Yes, for some, being a teenager has many heartbreaking moments. Give our regards to the Atom Smashers, Peter. See you around, bookworm. Someday I'll show them. Sob. Someday they'll be sorry. Sorry that they laughed at me. Science exhibit, experiments in radioactivity, open to the public, room 30. So Pete's not doing too good. They, make fun of him, and he can't fit in with anybody. But all the older people like him, and teachers and stuff. He got a good head on his shoulders. All right. And a few minutes later, Peter Parker forgets the taunts of his classmates as he is transported to another world, the fascinating world of atomic science. And now for a demonstration of how we can control radioactive rays here in the laboratory. But as the experiment begins, no one notices a tiny spider descending from the ceiling on an almost invisible strand of web. There it is right there. A spider whom fate has given a starring, if brief, role to play in the drama we call life. Accidentally absorbing a fantastic amount of radioactivity, the dying insect, in sudden shock, bites the nearest living thing at the split second before life ebbs from its radioactive body. And it's Peter. Ow! A spider. It bit me, but why is it burning so? Why is it glowing that way? My head. It feels strange. I need some air. Looks as though our experiment unnerved young Parker. Too bad. He must have a weak stomach. And they're laughing a little. What's happening to me? I feel different, as though my entire body is charged with some sort of fantastic energy. Then here comes a car. Honk honk. His fingertips are glowing. Wrapped in his thoughts, Peter doesn't hear the auto which narrowly misses him until the last instant. And then, unnoticed by the riders, he unthinkingly leaps to safety. But what a leap it is! That was one egghead who won't daydream anymore when he crosses the street. You can say that again. And there he is jumping, and all of a sudden, he is on the wall. What's come over me? I'm scaling this wall just as easily as I can walk. Mommy, look at that man walking up the side of a building. That's the last horror movie I take you to, young man. It's incredible. I reached the roof in just a few seconds. What's this? I crushed that steel pipe as though it were paper. And there he is right there, grabbing it. It's the spider. It has to be. Somehow, in some miraculous way, his bite was transferred his own power to me. I can walk down this cable as effortlessly as the spider itself can glide along its web. I've got to have time to think. I've got to plan what to do with this unbelievable ability which fate has given me. So now Peter walks away from spider bite with magical powers, all due to science and fate. A few minutes later, hmm, this will be a good chance to test my power again. $100 to the man who can stay in the ring 3 minutes with Crusher Hogan. So if you watch the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, the first big Spider-Man movie that came out, it follows us pretty loosely and it's pretty good. Um, but it's cool how they just updated it all. But I like this. I know where the story's going because I've seen that movie. Filled with excitement, Pete races back home and I'll put on some old clothes and leave my glasses here. But what if I fail? I don't want to be a laughing stock. I'll find some way to disguise myself. A few minutes later, I'll try for that $100, Crusher. Well, well, if it ain't a little Mass Marvel. Step up, sucker. Now, just relax, Shorty. I'll try to make this as painless as possible. And he goes for him and he hops over him. It works. I have the speed, the agility, the very strength of a gigantic spider. Hey! And he picks him up. Put me down. You win. You win. You're not human. Nobody can do that. Want I bet? Greatest act I've ever seen. Sensational. Fantastic. And that mask gimmick gives him just the right touch of mystery. He was terrific. That mask character may be just what I've been looking for. All right, they're going to get picked up by the promoters. Listen, friend, I'm a TV producer. With that act of yours, I can make you a fortune and keep the mask angle. It's great showmanship. Here's my card. Call me. You'd be a smash on Ed Sullivan's show. Thanks. Later at home again. Showmanship? He hasn't seen anything yet. Since I have the powers of a spider, I'll design myself a spider costume. Oh, hi, Aunt May. You looked a little tired, Petey, so we brought you some crackers and milk. Crackers and milk? Bless 'em. If they only knew. Now, let's see. A spider needs a web. This little device should just do the trick. I'll fasten one to each arm. It'll operate by the slightest pressure of any finger. Okay, so if you've watched that movie also, you know that his webs came out of his skin and it was like a natural power from the spider. But in the original comic, he made web shooters. And that's kind of how some of the cartoons have it and most of the comics. But that's cool. I always like the web shooters and, you can buy those ones for the kids and it's like the string that comes out. So it's always been pretty cool. I'll need a name. Well, guess Spider Man is as good as any. Looks pretty good, if I do say so myself. So Peter Parker, through sewing and his skills of making things, has made his own costume and it looks pretty good. So they laughed at me for being a bookworm, eh? Well, only a science major could have created a device like this. With some strong liquid cement at the end, I can pull myself up anywhere with my little web. And my costume is thin enough to wear unseen under my street clothes. Okay, world, better hang on to your hat. Here comes the Spider-Man. All right, now we're in part two. Now, anybody with the intelligence of a 7-year-old knows that if a man appeared on TV who seemed to be more spider than human, he'd be an overnight sensation, especially when his feats were performed without the help of trick photography. Well, you can just imagine how the public reacted to Spider-Man. So Spider-Man actually goes on TV. I'm seeing it with my own eyes, and I still don't believe it. Sure, they looked amazed, incredible, awe-stricken. Wouldn't you? After all, when was the last time you saw a man with his own fantastic spider web? Okay, Spider Man, cut. That's enough. Don't show him too much. Leave him begging for more. As his first TV spectacular ends, Peter Parker breathes the first sweet scent of fame and success. I'm from life. We'll pay any price for a picture spread. Sign with me. I'll put you in the movies. Wait, we want an interview. See my agent, boys. I'm busy. Rid of him at last. Hey, what's going on? Stop, thief, stop him. If he makes it to the elevator, he'll get away. Made it. I'm safe now. That cop can never get down to the lobby as fast as I can in this high speed express elevator. Lucky that goon in a costume didn't stop me. What's with you, mister? All you had to do was trip him up, was trip him or hold him just for a minute. Sorry, pal, that's your job. I'm through being pushed around by anyone. From now on, I just look out for number one. That means me. Ought to run you in. Save your breath, buddy. I've got things to do. Okay, so I was always a little under the impression that Spider Man, in retaliation for not getting paid, didn't stop this guy. But Spider Man just didn't stop this guy. And he ran right on through, and it's going to come back to haunt him later. But yeah, that's, I guess in the movie they did a good job of, not making him seem like he was just a jerk. But right here, he seems like he's just being a jerk because he had a little taste of fame and it's gotten to his head. All right, let's jump back in. And a few hours later, Peter, you know that microscope you've always wanted? Your uncle and I bought it for you this afternoon. Gosh, that's terrific. You're the greatest family any fella ever had. They're the only ones who've ever been kind to me. I'll see to it that they're always happy. But the rest of the world can go hang for all I care. In the days that follow, the Spider Man becomes a sensation of the nation. So he's on TV, he's doing all kinds of tricks. And the headlines of the newspapers: Spider Man slated for new TV series. Spider Man wins Showbiz Award. Spider Man plays to packed house. Who is the Spider Man? And one evening, as Peter Parker returns home from a personal appearance, a police car in front of our house. What can be wrong? Bad news, son. Your uncle has been shot, murdered. Uncle Ben, dead? No, no, it can't be. Who did it? Who shot him? It was a burglar. Your uncle surprised him. But don't worry, lad. We've got him trapped. He's in the old Acme warehouse at the waterfront. We'll get him. Your aunt is next door. The neighbors are looking after her. Wait, I've got to go. I've got to get him. I know the old Acme warehouse. It's been deserted for years. A killer could hold off on an army in that gloomy old place, but he won't hold off Spider Man. So now it's kind of, the movie's following it a little bit better. Um, he knows a burglar did it, so he's going to go stop him himself. The warehouse is at the other side of town, but I'll be there in no time. So he's swinging away. This is kind of like the first time he's swinging, I guess, in the city. Meanwhile, he's in there somewhere, but he'll pick us off like flies if we charge him. So there's the cops outside. All I gotta do is hold him off till the moon goes down. Then I ought to be able to slip away in the dark. You'll never escape again, murderer. Huh? What the? Surprised to see me? Not half so surprised as you're going to be. Gotta get away. Gotta hide. I must be seeing things. There's no place on earth where you can hide from me. First, my web will relieve you of your gun. So he shoots his web out and gets his gun. And then my fist will do the rest. He punches him. That face, it's... Oh no, it can't be. It's the fugitive who ran past me, the one I didn't stop when I had the chance. I hate to do it, but we'll have to rush him now. Can't take a chance of him slipping by in the dark. Captain, look! It's him, on a spider's web, and a short distance away. My fault, all my fault. If only I had stopped him when I could have, but I didn't. And now Uncle Ben is dead. And a lean, silent figure slowly fades into the gathering darkness, aware at last that in this world with great power there must also come great responsibility. And so a legend is born, and a new name is added to the roster of those who make the world of fantasy the most exciting realm of all. Be sure to see the next issue of Amazing Fantasy for the further amazing exploits of America's most different new teenage idol, Spider-Man. The end. All right. And that's the end of the first issue, the first appearance of Spider-Man. And I'm actually glad that they didn't do no crazy thing of Spider-Man trying to take revenge and killing him like they do in the movies, kind of. Um, but he just put him on a web and left him there for the cops. So that's cool. Kind of speaks true to the age that this was made in 1962. And it is geared towards the kids, so that's the teenagers. So that's kind of cool and refreshing to see because something like this today would have been made. They would immediately jump to revenge because that's kind of how we go through the eyes of a character and what they're feeling in a moment. But it's cool. I'm glad that I actually read this origin story, and I look forward to jumping through and going through the first 10 issues of the Spider-Man series, the Amazing Spider-Man series. And it's always a little fun to go back through time in the 60s and read these old issues and see how things have changed. But thanks for joining me. This is the first issue. And I'll try to come out with another one. I'm also going to go through Infinite Crisis for DC. So I've never actually read that, and that'll be a long series of videos also. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you again next time.